and welcome to Middle-Aged Geeks, and a very happy new year to everyone out there. This is a podcast where we aim to have chats about movies, games, TV, and anything geeky that takes our fancy. I am one of your hosts, Daz, and this is my co-host, Phil. How are you doing, Philly?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Yeah, it was a great, nice, long Christmas break. I mean, obviously, I missed getting these episodes turned out.
Yeah.
But it was nice. I had like 10 whole days off work. I suppose before we get into all that stuff, I hope our lovely listeners will join me in congratulating you and your wonderful wife Ali on the birth of your son.
Well, thank
Wonderful,
you very
wonderful news.
much.
What a fantastic Christmas present for you guys. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's been
Um,
quite the festive period, yeah, for sure.
you say so, yeah. Like it's for me, it was great. Saw a lot of family and friends home from abroad, just catching up with family. Just yeah, it was just great. So relaxing and just watched shitloads of movies at the cinema a couple
Yeah,
of
yeah.
times. It was yeah, it was great. What about you? Apart from the obvious.
Yeah, well, apart from sleep deprivation and poo nappies and dodging baby boy fountain wheeze. Yeah, apart from that, I managed to play good few games, good few new games, um, and didn't get to watch as much TV as I would like because just the nature of babies and stuff. Yeah, being able to have your or give your undivided attention for an hour or so is quite difficult. But I did manage to watch the movie we're reviewing today, which took I think 4 or 5 sittings to get through. We'll talk about that a little more later on. On this week's episode, we will be having chats about what we've been playing and watching over the festive period. We'll have a little discussion maybe about 2024 and some highlights and maybe some predictions or hopes for the year ahead in terms of games and movies and TV. We'll then dive into our movie review this week, which is Rebel Moon, or Rebel Moon: Part One dash A Child of Fire, by Zack Snyder, and then Phil will give us a rundown of Grim Fandango in a retro corner, which is a PlayStation 1 game. Is it PlayStation 1?
No, it was PC originally. Yeah,
PC. Oh
it was
well,
PC originally. Now it's on plenty of consoles. I'll go through all that when we get to the retro corner.
happy days. Before all that, I do have a little bit of feedback from one of our good friends of the show, Daryl Conlon, who said he is a massive Trek fan and he loved the Star Trek episode, but he said we didn't give Voyager enough love, which is probably true. We skimmed past that, but spare a thought for all the Enterprise lovers out there when we completely missed that. He also said that he loved the Galaxy Quest review, and I said we'd definitely try and do some more movie reviews in the retro corner because there's quite a few bangers out there that deserve some love. But so let's get on to what we have been playing and watching. So Phil, what have you been watching and playing over the festive period?
Yeah, I didn't play a massive amount. I did. despite the fact saying I was going to spend 10 days becoming a dungeon master
Oh yeah,
in
how did that
Baldur's
go?
Gate.
Did you play any more of that?
No, I didn't even pick it up. The only games I played actually over Christmas was I usually never touch anything, in the PlayStation Store sale. But
Yeah.
they had Return to Arkham. As I was flicking through, I saw Return to Arkham was like
Nice.
£7. And I haven't played Arkham Asylum.
£7. Well,
Yeah, for Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, and I haven't played either of those games in fucking years. So I said, look, fuck this, I'm going to start this. So I started playing Arkham Asylum. It just brought me right back to when I first playing it on I think it was the 360. I think it was I played it on, and just flashbacks to playing it. Just in love with that game I was. So yeah, I've just been playing them at the moment. I'm watching a load of stuff though. I went to the cinema a couple of times. I went to see The Boy and the Heron,
oh yeah.
the Studio Ghibli movie, which I absolutely loved. I saw the dubbed version just because I'm more than happy to go and see the subtitle version, but it was just the time that I happened to be in town. So I might try and see if I can get the subtitle version while
Yeah.
it's still in the cinema.
The dubbing on those movies is
Um,
quite good, though.
yeah, no, it is. Yeah, it's a great. The cast is unreal. Although I fucking no idea what Christian Bale was going for with the accent. Like it sometimes sounds British, sometimes sounds like he's from like New York or Boston or somewhere. I wasn't quite sure what was going on. But no, it's fucking class. You would never know in a million years if someone told you it was Robert Pattinson doing the voice of the Heron. Never in a million years if you weren't
That's
told
crazy.
would you guess it was him. Um, it's a lot of fun. It's beautiful. I love that animation. As I was saying to friend Jenny over Christmas, it almost feels like you're watching it. Those movies always feel like you're watching an old movie because the animation style pretty much just stays the same. That it feels a lot older than it is, you know.
Mm.
So that was great. And then what else did I watch? I watched on Netflix, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners might watch this as well. Leave the World Behind. Do you see that one?
Oh, I've heard that's
Mahershala
great. Is it?
Ali, Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I was so disappointed. Like it's Sam
Oh
Esmail,
wow.
who did Mr.
Yeah,
Robot.
Mr. Robot.
Mahershala Ali. It's got fucking Ethan Hawke, Kevin
Yeah, the
Bacon.
cast
I was
is
like, this is
phenomenal.
this. Yeah, this is going to be quality, and the whole setup to it kind of has you on edge of what exactly is going on here, and just the payoff is shit. Like it was really, I just felt like nothing happened. That the payoff to it
Mm.
was just not what I was kind of sold at the start of it. It was just, oh really? That's what this is, you know.
Oh shit.
It was a big, yeah, it was a big letdown for me. And the other thing I watched was a rewatch, right? So I had reread Stephen King's It recently. And I thought, you know
Mm.
what? I'm gonna rewatch the '90s TV miniseries because I haven't watched
Oh
that in
yeah, yeah.
years. I'm gonna rewatch it, and it's mad. Like it's not scary. It's not. You know, to watch it now, obviously, it's not scary. But
Mm.
it's amazing what our bodies will remember and our brains remember that I'm watching this, and even though I'm not scary, I'm transported to watching this when I was a kid. Like, I would have watched this at
Mm.
9 years of age or 10 years of age.
Mm. Fucking
And back
terrifying.
then, this was scary as fuck. And so
Mm.
there's something in me when this music comes on and the stuff comes on. Like there's part of me that's laughing because I can remember, I can see how ridiculous it is, and
Yeah, yeah.
not many people would be scared by it now. But there's this other part of me, this memory, this memory that's inside my body of being scared watching this show, as
Yeah,
a
yeah.
kid, and it was just so interesting to feel myself on edge, kind of. Okay, I had to go and take a piss, and I walked out and found myself turning the light on. Like, hang on a fucking second, you're fucking in your 40s. You're not even scared of this fucking show.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just, it's just that memory of it. But yeah,
That's funny.
that's pretty much what I've into over the Christmas. What about yourself? You said you got to play some newer games.
Yeah, kind of the opposite. I didn't really get to watch that much at all, but my lovely wife bought me a few games over Christmas. She got me Jedi Survivor, which I hadn't played at all when it came out, because it was reportedly a buggy mess kind of when it came out. But I played a good bit of that, still playing it, but 10 hours in. It's the same as the last game, but but better. Graphics are fantastic. Gameplay is really smooth. And I know we were talking before about me dumbing down difficulties in this game, but I'm actually playing it on Jedi Master. Is it Jedi Master? Just the normal, like there's 5 tiers of difficulty, but
Right.
the middle tier. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't think it's as Souls-like as the first game. Like maybe the parry windows and
Was the first
deflection
one
windows.
was the first
Yeah,
one considered Souls like? I remember the parry windows
yeah,
was a bit. I was playing it, I
yeah.
just couldn't quite
It
get it,
was
and I was like,
it was in that
this is
vein.
making
Like
my
yeah,
lightsaber not cool. Okay, okay.
yeah. That's it. Like the first game seemed a bit of a slog, and I dumbed it down to easy just to kind of get that kind of Jedi power rush. You don't want to be fucking getting your ass handed to you by droids. But this game is maybe it's not as difficult. It's still pretty difficult. Like whenever it gets to a boss fight, I'm throwing that shit down to fucking story mode just to get through. I'm not playing someone for 25 minutes. But yeah, it's very good. But the game, obviously, it's 4 years since the last one, and in the story, it's the band of people like that got together. They've all been disbanded and gone their separate ways, and you kind of like the familiar faces from the first game are on the kind of periphery this time. You meet up with them every now and then.
Okay.
So story wise, I mean, the story's quite good, but I've felt myself kind of trailing off as I've been playing, and even just in the middle of a mission, just kind of pause and go and get a cup of coffee or something, and then going back and going, I might actually play something else for a little bit, which is strange. Like the first game, I
Yeah.
had no problem playing 6-8 hours, like play through no problem. It was just fucking really really cool. But whenever I paused this game and decided to play another game, it was RoboCop Rogue City, which finally
No way,
got
really.
reduced in price. And yeah, it was about like €30, €35 or something.
How is it
And
35 euros? That's not out that long. Like,
yeah, it was only €60 to begin with, so it was like a
okay.
small discount. So yeah, pick that up. And it's pretty fucking good, man. I have to say, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's a kind of semi-open world. The graphics, it's glitchy and buggy and janky, and between cutscenes, it's there's little flickers between the graphics, and yeah, it's a bit of a mess that way. But the character model of RoboCop is fucking cool. It keeps the humor and the satire from the movies, from the first movie especially. Yeah, semi-open world. The combat's pretty good. Like he's slow and like you're not running around anywhere, but you can pick up guys and fuck them through walls or pick up motorbikes and throw them at people, and yeah, it's good fun. And you do like when you go back between or after missions, go back to the police station from the first movie, and that's rendered absolutely fucking perfect. You can walk around that. There's like psych evaluations between missions where you sit down, you have to answer questions about what you think you are as a robot. You want to be called Murphy or RoboCop, stuff like that. It was just pleasantly surprised. A solid 7 out of 10, but the best kind of 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I saw the gameplay and I'd seen the lead up to it and thought like this looks fucking shite. And I couldn't believe it when it came out and it was getting, like you said, probably around the average score it was getting.
Mm.
How is this getting positive reviews? I'm gonna look at some more gameplay stuff, and even watching the reviews and gameplay, I'm still going, oh man, this is just not for me. I don't like the idea of being just a tank kind of walking around. It's not really for
Yeah,
me. But
but you
most people seem
can
to be
take a
enjoying
lot of
it. So
damage. Like so it does get kind of. That's where it differs, obviously, from the movie. That you're not this you can't just steamroll through these guys. You can take a fair bit of damage, and you have to grab med packs or just get some energy cells to replenish your health. That just adds a little bit of kind of strategy to it. But because this is from the guys who made that Terminator game like 4 or 5 years ago. That was
oh
abysmal.
yeah,
It
yeah.
looked good, but it was abysmal. I think either before that or after that they did that Rambo game, which got like fucking 2 out of 10 or something. Just fucking atrocious. But this one, yeah, it's like it's fun. It's as we both said beforehand, like it's a game that you'd either get as a gift or a Game Pass game. You're not really spending 60-70 quid on it. So, but yeah, as part of my wife's present, I was like, I'll get that. Thanks very much. And another two games that I got was Resident Evil 4 remake. But I haven't actually played that yet, apart from the intro demo, and WWE 2K24 because I'm just a sucker for getting cheap
Oh, awesome.
wrestling games and playing them for about 20 minutes and then never playing them again. But
There's
that is,
nothing will ever
yeah.
match Raw. Nothing will ever match Raw
Ah,
in an
stop, yeah.
N64 when it comes to wrestling games. So
4-player
playing that when
carnage,
you're
like,
making your own character and then having
mm,
like a fucking Royal Rumble or whatever, bliss.
yeah, just watching your friends try and climb to the top of a ladder match to get the belt or something and just smashing the ladder down. Like, that's the most fun I've had in my 20s, that kind of shit. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. Yeah, I didn't get to watch too much. So before we get into our movie review, we might just have a quick chat about 2024, maybe some highlights, some hopes or games or movies that we're looking forward to. So Phil, on the movie front, are there any movies that you are particularly jazzed
Like
about?
I would be happy if no movies and no games, anything came out as long as they gave me a new Nintendo Switch. I don't care. I don't care. I know
Absolutely.
2024. I know. I'm sure it's going to be a great year. I said like in seriousness though, I think the one I'm most looking forward to, and it's not a very highbrow one or anything like that, but the one I'm most looking forward to is Furiosa. That's probably
Oh
what I'm
yeah, the
most looking
trailer
forward
looks
to this year.
fucking badass.
Yeah, like I will never get tired of watching Fury Road. Like seeing that in IMAX is just melt your face off. It was
Yeah.
fucking awesome. I
It's
love
like
that
being kicked
movie.
in the face in the cinema multiple times
Yeah,
and loving it.
yeah, incredible. And so 100% sign me up for IMAX for that. And like I love Anya Taylor Joy. I think she's awesome.
Mm,
It's
she
yeah,
looks the
I'm looking
part
for
in it.
that. Yeah. I think she'll do a good job. I think that's actually what I'm looking forward to most. And I know there's some big movies coming out next year, but
Mm,
that's probably the one that's kind of really standing out for me that I'm looking forward to seeing. Like games, there's actually a few even coming up in the early like this month. The new Prince of
yes.
Persia game is coming out this
That
month, so
looks
I'm
so
looking
good.
forward to that. Yeah, so there's plenty coming out this year, plenty to look forward to. But yeah, when I've that's the one I've kind of been so excited about is the new Mad Max, I guess, the Furiosa.
Yeah, yeah.
What about yourself?
Uh, well, June 2, obviously, in March, is that last trailer. Trailer 3 is it's one of the best trailers I think I've seen in many years. The score, and it's just I must have watched it about fucking 50 times. It's so good that and apparently I just actually read just before we came on today that there is a Dune TV show or a prequel releasing the same day as the movie, 1st of March.
Oh yeah,
I got HBO Max or maybe on Netflix or something like that. That's a prequel set 10,000 years before it. I'm just like, right, okay, that didn't fucking know about that. That's something pretty spectacular to just kind of drop.
is
But yeah,
actually
June, yeah.
is what's his face? Is Noah Hawley's Alien next year? That series.
Yeah,
Just when you just mentioned TV series, I'm like, is that supposed to? I know Fede Alvarez's Alien movie is next year. That's got a
that's
name and
Romulus,
everything. Like,
Alien Romulus or something.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Like, so I know that's it, but I wonder is that I don't know what. Just when you
be
mentioned a
interesting if
Dune
they tied
series,
it
for
in
some
with the
reason it just
movie.
reminded me.
Mm,
I don't know. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I think it's set in completely different times. Like one of them is set. Like the TV series is set like
yeah.
before Ripley and everything. I think,
Mm,
or maybe it's the other way around. I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm trying to stay in the dark a little bit about that stuff just to kind of be
yeah,
surprised. But yeah, Dune,
yeah.
fucking hell. Oh,
I'll bring it on. Like
see,
they,
yeah.
he can't go any. Denny Villeneuve cannot do any wrong. Pretty much. It looks like that the first June movie, was a perfect setup for this one. It just looks more. It's just more intense, more action, more character madness. It just looks fucking fantastic. But there's one actually that I didn't know was out next year. I just heard about it after or I think it was last summer. There was some kind of preview about the production of this thing called Mickey 17 that is based on a novel called Mickey 7 that was about a man, like a space explorer, sent to colonize some icy planet. But he is a in the book he's the seventh iteration of a clone of himself, but he retains
All
his
right.
memories every time he's cloned. So, but it's directed by Bong Joon-ho, who made Parasite,
Oh,
the
yeah.
and the host before it, and who's after obviously winning the Oscar for
Snowpiercer.
Parasite. Yeah, this is the exact Snowpiercer. So after winning the Oscar, obviously this movie is suddenly jumped onto every list for this year's kind of highly anticipated movies. So just really, I loved what he did with the host, and just looking forward to seeing him get back to sci-fi realm to see what he can do. Very book apparently is spectacular, but it stars Robert Patterson and Tony Colletti, Mark Ruffalo, and a few others. Yeah, and that's coming out in
Sold.
March as well. So like happy fucking days. But yeah, there's a lot of good fucking movies. There's Ballerina, the John Wick spin-off. That's in June. Obviously, we got Deadpool 3. We talked about Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice 2, which I kind of worry about that. This is another one of these, like, oh, let's do a sequel 20 plus years afterwards. I'm like,
But
oh,
yeah, but
no,
like
I'm not too sure.
I think about that though, Daz. Like even if that's not great, Michael Keaton's gonna knock it out of the park. Like even the movie's probably not gonna be
Absolutely.
good. That's I think
Hmm.
we can probably. It's a fair bet that
But
it's going to be
that
not be very
character's
good.
worth the watch alone, I'd say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Michael Keaton is so watchable. He's fantastic. I think he'll knock it out of the park. So again, it's always difficult to watch these things again for your childhood and they're getting remade. Like,
Yeah.
fuck it up. But
Dumb and
like,
Dumber 2, and just like, oh, come on, lads. Just let it go. Let
yeah,
it go. You waited too
yeah,
long, man.
yeah.
But yeah, then
That's
we have the Joker, Folie à Deux, out in October, and Gladiator 2 in November. So yeah, it's looking like kind of a packed year movie wise. Games wise, for me, yeah, it's Prince of Persia, Hades 2. I don't know if you were into the first
yeah.
Hades.
Loved
Fucking
it.
blew my
Yeah,
mind.
I, and,
Oh
I, and,
god, yeah.
I, and I was like 2 years behind everybody else. Like I'd heard of it and
Mm.
I just didn't get around to it. And I finally started playing it. What a fucking game! Like, and it's
It's
just
just yeah,
yeah, you can pick it up. And the great thing is that you can pick it up and just have a run. Like oh shit, okay, I gotta head out in like 15 minutes,
yeah.
fucking, or half an hour, or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna get in and get a fucking run done. You can just jump in, get a run, get a little piece of
Mm.
story, and then it's just the humor is great. It's so smooth. Like you never see it fucking. There's no any glitches or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
fucking smooth, so
Buttery.
responsive, so clever.
Mm.
Just the voice acting is great. It's yeah, it's Hades. The first game is fucking excellent.
So yeah, like to roll on the sequel to that, then obviously there's we spoke about before Hellblade 2. I just want the game to be fucking released. Yeah, don't show us anymore. Just release it. And there's a lot of pressure on that game. I mean, if it doesn't get anything more than 9, everyone will go fucking shit the bed.
Oh, there's
So
no way.
hopefully
There's
that's
no
fucking
way that no way that
yeah,
flops. Absolutely no way.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's
there's the more you're talking about it, I kind of just dismissed a lot of stuff next year because I just really want a fucking new, new Nintendo. But yeah, like I'm thinking now as well. Black Wukong is another one that we've been waiting on for a while,
oh
or
yeah.
Black Myth, sorry, whatever it's called.
Mm.
That's another one that's been waiting on for a while. So I definitely want to play that one.
But there's
Yeah,
also
it could be,
like
yeah.
sorry, yeah, just it's
No, just saying it could be a pretty stacked year.
100%. But like even on the list of games to look forward to, there's still the Suicide Squad, which I'm very very interested just to see what the what the reaction is when that game comes out. Like 9 years of development, is it absolutely yeah, is it going to be an absolute fucking dumpster fire, which it probably will be. But yeah, TV shows as well. Just for me, it's Fallout, and the Penguin, and yeah, Daredevil Born Again, which Jesus Christ has went through serious rewrites and stuff, and I'm kind of curious to see if Marvel will fuck that up given their recent kind of trend.
Yeah.
But yeah, Switch 2, top of the pile. Um, yeah, I just hope they release it with Metroid Prime 4, just like out of nowhere. Just go, yeah, here we go. But it'll probably release with Super Mario Odyssey 2, which would be fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's an interesting year ahead, I think. More so for movies and games, I think.
Plenty
But
to keep us going. Plenty to keep our podcast fueled anyway.
yeah, absolutely. So on that note, then we will move on to our movie review, which is Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, Part 1 dash A Child of Fire. Hereby referred to as Rebel Moon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, for this, normally we kind of go through like this will be obviously a spoiler discussion, but we're not going to go through this in too much detail in terms of scene to scene because the movie really doesn't deserve that. I think we'll have much more fun sharing our thoughts on it, I believe. And we haven't
Yeah.
chatted about this at all, but we're generally on the same page. To set the scene, oh god, well, here is the synopsis from the movie website. When a colony on the edge of the galaxy finds itself threatened by the armies of a tyrannical Regent Belisarius, they dispatch a young woman with a mysterious past to seek out warriors from neighboring planets to help them take a stand. And that sounds much better than the movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quick thoughts. Straight away, it's I don't know if you've ever seen Battle Beyond the Stars from the early '80s. It's an absolute blatant rip off of that movie. Like it's 100%. It's the exact same fucking movie. Um, it's yeah. This movie's really bad, man. This really movie is really bad. When it starts off, it's almost like first things first. It is a rejected Star Wars movie by Disney. So like
Yeah,
it,
he even said it. He said like he was hoping this would be his Star Wars. Like that.
yeah,
Like that's what it was going to be. I mean, straight away when like I knew when he kind of announced this straight away, just kind of the worrying of oh god, is he writing and
yeah,
directing it? Because I've liked like when it comes to Zack Snyder, I would say 40% of the stuff he's done. I'm
mm,
300, Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead, Man of Steel, his version of Justice League. Like I like
yeah,
all those movies. And
mm,
I think Dawn of the Dead is a fantastic horror movie. Great remake. First time we really see, well, not the first time, but fast zombies. You know what I mean? Like obviously
mm,
we've seen them in 28 Days Later and stuff, but fast zombies and stuff. It was really, really good. Cool cast. Really enjoyed it. I enjoyed his version of Watchmen. I thought it was quite faithful to the
mm-hmm,
graphic novel. But some of his other stuff, then, if you look at fucking Sucker Punch,
yeah,
Army of the Dead, what else has he done? Oh, whatever else. It's Batman versus Superman.
yeah, yeah.
When he starts putting this and now this, eyes start to go, oh, no, don't. Like, it just, I'm a bit worried. I think when he has the source material, maybe it isn't
Mm,
his. I think maybe we're a little bit better off, but,
hundred
um,
percent,
like,
hundred
it's
percent.
just, and straight away, I think you're trying to draw in parallels a little bit there. I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I thought straight away of Gareth Edwards and the creator when this was going to come out because they were coming
Mm,
out for it was only September. It was coming towards the end of the year
yeah,
when Creator was coming out, and then this was coming out. I was like, okay, these are two directors who enjoy making sci-fi, who have a very specific look that they're going to try and want to go for. And so I was like, I wonder who will kind of do it better. And okay, we thought Creator was good but not great, but had the
mm,
opportunity to be great, would be happy to go back to that world a million times over. I would watch a TV series that was in that world every week because it was
yeah.
so gorgeous and so beautiful, so interesting. I couldn't give a shit about the universe, the world that Zack Snyder has created in this movie at all. Not the Rebel Moon,
Just
not any moon, not any planet, not any character. I think I remember about three characters' names. Yeah, sorry.
yeah. I mean, just nail on the head there. I mean, like the fact that he's writer director, like he's co-written it with obviously two other guys, but the story is by him, and as director, he obviously has final say over that script, being a co-writer. But it's like it's written by a 12-year-old. It's like it's how do they say it? It's like an and they call it an and then movie. So it's just like this happens, and she goes here, and then we go to this planet and we meet that guy, and he jumps on a bird, and then we move over here, and then this happens, and nothing really matters, and it's like Zack Snyder's making the movie that he just wants to watch and he thinks is cool, and I don't think general audiences don't really share that viewpoint. You know what I mean? It's like he's
Yeah.
and like I think it's possibly one of the worst movies I've seen in quite some time. Worse than some of the shit we've fucking reviewed on this, like just because of the scope of it, and it's Zack Snyder, and it's 166 million fucking budget, and it's
God, that's so much
like
money.
I know it's so much money, but like love or hate him, um, Zack Snyder can command like or he can pick and choose to a certain extent who he wants to put in this movie. And with that budget, obviously there's a lot of visual effects and all that. But every single character is just bar the villain, which I thought was like Ed Skrein or Ed Screen guy who was in Deadpool.
Yeah,
He's pretty
I
good.
thought
Like
I
he
have to
knows what
say I
movie
wrote
he's
that
in.
down. Yeah, I put that down in my notes. I said this is the best performance I've seen from him because in Deadpool, okay, he's cool enough in it, but you're kind of some of his delivery about some of the stuff is a bit,
Mm,
it's a bit over the top, and you're just like, okay, he's off a bit. Like he just, I didn't quite like him too much in that, and I'd seen him in like a Hitman and in Game of Thrones, in Alita Battle Angel, and each time you're kind of like, yeah, he's just playing the bad guy, but he could this could be anybody. But I thought
yeah.
he was really, really good. He was probably one of the best in this. I thought that he,
Mm.
like you said, I think he did. He knew the role that he was playing. That people were not going to be taking this movie seriously.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just think, I just think he doesn't really. It just speaks a lot about where Zack Snyder is now as a filmmaker. And I think what he actually offers, because like you said, like I like a decent amount of his movies, but generally with some of his movies like 300, um, where it's more stylized, and you know that even if the story is going to fall flat, it's not it's not like a comic book movie or something like this where he can really just um go nuts visually, and with his fucking love of slow mo. And like, if you take the slow motion out of this movie, it's probably 40 minutes
Oh,
long.
half an hour. Yeah,
It's
it's got to be
I just
like there's the slow motion seeds at the start. She's going through this fucking. I know we'll get into it in a moment. I know, but just have to get to this quickly. There's a start where she's going
yeah
through. She's in the field and there's seeds and she's throwing down seeds. There is no reason at all to have them go in slow motion. Like she's just kind of throwing down seeds as she's
yeah
planting the farm doing her farm hand job. And for some reason, it goes just fucking slows down as the seeds. There is no need. You're just fucking killing an extra fucking 20 seconds showing that. It's fucking pointless.
like,
He just loves a bit of
but it's
slow
one of
mo.
those things where, like, because like with things like with 300, like, there's such lovely action scenes and it's so visually breathtaking and everything, but the slow motion works perfectly because Leonidas is kicking the shit out of a few guys, and then the camera just kind of ramps in just after he hits somebody, and slow motion extend that scene or extend that action beat or something, and with the music, and it works fucking perfectly. But here is just saying, like, the slow motion just seems to be put in all the wrong places. It's like
Yeah,
somebody's running and then they stop, and it goes into slow motion when they stop against a wall. They're just standing against the wall. It's just like, why is this happening? Why is there slow motion happening now? Like, why? He's just yeah, he's a fucking nut job. But we'll get into it a bit more. But yeah, so like after the initial setup, we're introduced to Cora, who is our protagonist, and um played by Sophie Batella. Is it Sophie Batella?
Budea, I think. Budea, I think.
Okay, she's a
It could
she,
be butchering that, but yeah,
like, she's been kind of on the periphery, the acting scene for a while, and apparently she's been, touted as the next big thing in terms of action stars, or like, she's been, people have been waiting to see her in a leading role, and I just, yeah, straight away, even from the first scene, I'm just like, I don't think this is going to work. She doesn't have the screen presence or acting range to give this character anything special in my book.
yeah. They gave
She's
her a
has a
monologue.
physicality for it, fantastic. Like, but there's
Well, I think she's a dancer. She's like a fully trained whatever dancer. That's why
yeah,
they want her for these real physical roles, like in
mm,
um, what's it called? Not the gentleman. What's that one? The thing. What's the fucking one called? With Colin Firth and Taron Egerton. The Oh
fucking
God, I made it.
Kingsman.
But Kingsman, yeah, Kingsman.
Yeah,
She's in that, and stuff like that is really, as you said, really physical kind of role. But there's, like you said, there's with regards to the presence, from near the start, shit, this is not going to work. When she comes back, I was after having a
yeah,
big party thing, and
yeah,
she comes
yeah,
back and she has a little monologue. She's standing in their kind of quarters,
mm,
talking to the old dude that kind of took her in, and she's having a conversation, and it's just real. It's just a short monologue, but it was
yeah.
painful to watch. It's like, oh god,
Oh,
this is like watching. It's like watching as bad as Gal Gadot and fucking Wonder Woman '84. When you're just like,
yeah.
I'm fucking
Just
talking.
blah 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 blah
Um,
blah.
yeah, it was just like, oh no, I just right. It was then. I just from there, I was got a bit worried of shit. Like she's obviously awesome. She kicks ass. She's throwing her all into it, but I don't think she's a because it just is. There's certain actors that just aren't. They're not expected to be the leading role because
Mm.
they can't really carry carry a movie that way. It doesn't mean they're
No.
bad actors or anything like that. It's just that they just leading the lead. They just aren't the lead. You know, a lot of people
Yeah.
go into being character actors for that very reason. You know, they're not going to. They can't carry the whole movie. She's being asked to do that, and because she's not, there's not really anybody else stepping up to fill that void either. You know, you couldn't really give a wank about the other people that are in there apart from the screen. But for the good guys, there's no one else who's kind of filling the role in. So you're kind of like, okay, well, which one am I supposed to care about here? Because
Yeah.
I don't really give a shit about any of them. You know, um,
Yeah, it just
yeah,
doesn't
like
really work. Just even as a beginning, but like the start is probably I guess the strongest bit because it generally kind of goes off the rails after. But after the brief voiceover from Anthony Hopkins, we get onto his voice in a while. Yeah, we're introduced to Cora, and she's a farmer on some planet as part of a little village, and there's we'll get onto the visuals of this movie, which I'm fucking I'm hot and cold on. But there's a lovely shot of her silhouetted against, when she's still doing the thing where she's smelling the fucking grain, just like, why are you smelling the grain? Like, what are you doing? But the backdrop is gorgeous, giant, gas giant planet in the background, in the sky, and it looks nice and pretty, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe this could go. This may not be as bad as people say. But then she starts speaking, and that's about 6 minutes into the film, and there's I don't know what's her relationship to this guy she's talking to. She's sharing a room with an old man. Is he her lover or something?
yeah, no, he like took her in because remember she's like
Okay,
she's like an exile from.
yeah. I just wonder why
Because
she was
read
in
like
the room with
okay,
him.
yeah,
Are
I
they
don't want to
together or
jump
something?
ahead. No, I think
Oh,
they're
we
just
jump
like
all
a
over
big
the place. Doesn't
community.
matter.
No, yeah, I think they're just a big community, and that's why they all kind of
Okay.
bunk in together. But no, they're not. No, I think he's past the age of.
Yeah, I just thought I just didn't know why they were sleeping in the same room or whatever. But
No, I think they all just bunk in. I think it's one big happy family.
but yeah, like
Actually,
the
it
yeah.
isn't that where you're talking about though that whole thing where we find her, in this community that she's in, and we start
Mm,
meeting all the different people. I wasn't sure what was going on first of all because you hear um Corey Stoll. Like Corey Stoll comes on, you see him with the big
mm,
beard and everything, and then he opens his mouth, and I was like, "What fucking accent is he doing?" And
mm.
then it cuts to someone
Oh,
else, and there
accent.
Johnson and it was like, I was like, "Oh, is this?" First of all, I wasn't sure because it sounded like it was a bit Scandinavian, but
Yeah.
then some people didn't sound Scandinavian. I was like, "Oh
Mm.
shit, is this like? Are they trying to do a thing like The Expanse?" Where people have been living away from Earth, for that long that they developed
Yeah, yeah.
their own language. I absolutely
Mm.
love that they did that in The Expanse. It's so
Oh, it's
clever,
brilliant. Yeah, really, really good.
it's really brilliant. And I was wondering, is that what it is? But I think it is. I think this is basically space Scandinavia. It's basically that's what that's supposed to be like. Because then the
Yeah,
bad guys come in and they're like space South Africans. Those lads who come in from the
yeah,
other
yeah,
army,
yeah.
like. But yeah, sorry, I'm jumping ahead a little bit.
Oh, not at all. Like we'll be jumping
Yeah,
all
like
over the place in this.
yeah, but
But
like you're
like,
saying, that's it. They come to her and she's on this little planet and she has her little speech and I think they're happy talking about how great life is and how they're farming and da da da. I
mm,
think that's when I think it's around then, isn't it, that they kind of we find out about the guys from the opening exposition dump
mm.
from Anthony
But
Hopkins.
before,
These are the guys. They come to the planet, isn't it?
yeah, exactly. But like the problem with everything is the exposition in this movie is astonishing. Like we're just told, like normally you're either told in backstory or something about a character, but leading lady Cora just tells people about her life all the time. She's the exposition. She's in that room with that old man, and she says, I was a child of war, and I could not know love." And just like, no one fucking talks like this. Like, what do you say? Like, what are you talking about? It's just, oh my god, I don't think I'm capable of love. Blah blah blah. It's just utter nonsense. She's just standing there in the room and just says all this to this guy, and then She goes, maybe we should get some rest. And then he says nothing. He's just like, okay, cool. Child of war. What the fuck you talking about? Like, but yeah, the Empire arrived then. It's unbelievable. The Empire arrive and um, the leader, this Ed Screen, I don't know what his name was actually. Do you remember his name?
Couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. I'm just going to call him Ed Screen because I didn't. Like I said, there's only. I remembered him. I know Sindri was the name of Rory Stoll's character, and I know. And then two, actually, the guy who plays so Ed Screen, right? And then the other guy, the guy called Gunnar. Both of them played the same character in Game of Thrones. Ed Screen played him first, and then he left. And then when the next season came in, Dario Naharis. So both actors were in, have a lot of scenes together in this. Actually played the same character. There's a little tidbit for you.
Nice, Jesus.
I know his name. So Gunnar, Cora, and Sindri, and that's it. I don't know anybody else's name in the movie.
So and even when the Empire ship land, I keep saying the Empire ship. It's not. It's the motherland. If it's the motherland or mother's whatever. It's the not Empire ship lands, and even then, it's just the ship lands, and then we just get a slow motion shot of them walking out of the ship and just going, just fucking get on with it. Like, come on, man. But
it'd be funny actually. It'd be funny if it just cut to the farmers and they're just standing there not in slow motion.
Should we just run away?
Why
Will we run away?
Slow motion? By the time they get here, we'll be well gone.
Yeah, but they arrive and they want the grain. I'm just going to skip forward in this. They want the grain from the village, and the leader, what's it, Sindri? Sindri doesn't want to give them any grains and tries to, say the land isn't fertile or whatever. And this is where Ed Screen, is Screen or Screen? Screen.
I'm going to say Screen.
Screen, yeah. It's easier to say. Where he just plays this, like he knows what kind of movie he's in, but he's definitely kind of channeling the Jew hunter from Inglourious Bastards, that kind of vibe where he's, playing friendly, but he definitely does come across with that sinister undertones where he's just going to snap at any point. And this is where there's Gunnar kind of goes behind Sindri's back and basically tells the evil guy that, look, we do have surplus grain, blah, 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 but we know we're keeping it for a special occasion or some shit like that. And then in one of these lovely scenes where it's like Zach is playing with the audience, where it looks like the evil guy is going to, kill the Gunnar chap, but in a twist, he spins around, and I don't know why he's carrying this just wooden staff. Everyone's got like fucking, this movie is laser swords and crazy weapons and all this stuff, but this guy just carries a wooden battering walking stick. He kills Sindri, and Cora's watching on, and it's heartbreaking. And
that's just on that, like we're the Empire, not the Empire, have come down, right? These lads have mastered intergalactic travel. Okay, they're flying from fucking planet to planet. We're talking spaceships here. Surely there's a better way for them to get food than to go to this fucking backwater little moon,
small village,
where these farmers, small village, looking for grain. It's just so bizarre. And then even on that planet, they have this mix where they're all going out and doing stuff by hand and da 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 da. And he says, I could bring a lot of shit down here, like technology that'll get this grain out for you faster. And like, oh no, we like to keep things by working on the land and using our hands. Yet the doors in the place are all fucking automatic, fucking like Star Trek doors, and the lights are proper electricity lights. It doesn't, like, which is it? Are you Amish, like space Amish, or are you not? Like, and then it was such a weird thing. Like, if you can fly through space and, go jump from planet to planet, do all this crazy shit, surely you've got a better way to feed your mates than to go grain fucking hunting on some moon. It's just fucking bizarre.
Yeah, it does fucking go a bit mad that way. There's a lot of madness in that scene. A lot of madness just up to this point. It's trying to be a different movie, and you can see the movie that Zack Snyder thinks it is, and it's just not. It's so fucking not. It's just so telegraphed. After this, after the scene, Cora wants to leave We need to introduce the robot. There's a robot, and he's voiced by Anthony Hopkins. For some reason, it's really, really off-putting because it's just Anthony Hopkins' has a lovely voice. He's a lovely man. He's a lunatic, but he's a lovely man. But I just don't know why they got him to voice the robot. What are your thoughts on the voice?
Yeah,
Did it put you
the
off?
robot looked cool. Robot looked
It
cool,
looked
for
cool.
sure. But I was like, I don't get why he had to voice it. I mean, it must mean something in the
It takes you
second
out
one
of it completely.
because
He
the fact
disappears
that
after fucking 10 minutes. Like,
yeah, he does. But the fact that he voices the intro, you know what I mean? The fact that he voices the intro, we're going to find out something. It obviously it means something, So we'll in part 2, which is out in a few months, I'm sure we'll find out. But it was just we know it's going to mean something because why would this fucking robot be doing the voiceover? So the fact that you're giving us a voiceover 10 minutes later, we're seeing it's the voice on the robot. You're going, well, look, obviously it's going to mean something. It was just, I don't know. It was just, I don't know why they put that voice on it.
In the trailer, he's prominent enough in the trailer, but he's in the movie for about 5 minutes before popping up at the end with fucking antlers on.
What the fuck was that about? And his name is, and they call him Jimmy.
That's a funny thing.
Fucking, could you call him something cool? Give him like a name like or2ZJ or something. It's like Jimmy. It's because it's short for like it's
Jimmy.
because there's some sort of code name, but they just call him Jimmy. So all the lads are calling him Jimmy. It's like, what a fucking weird name for this space robot. That's like, it's just, I don't know. And like those people, by the way, those people are all fucking morons. Like when Ed Skrein comes down to gives them their ultimatum, tells them this has to happen. He kills Sindri. They all start talking to each other and they're like, okay, what if he sells them? We're going to take like 90% of your grain. We're coming back in 9 weeks' time. We're taking pretty much all your grain. And they're like, what we could do if we work really, really hard and we do then they'll see the benefit of us. Yeah,
they'll see how good workers we are. And they love us.
Yeah, but
they're going to murder you. Because we're fucking dope.
Let's appeal to their humanity. It's like, hang on a second. They just beat that guy to death
with a fucking stick.
And then a while later they tried to gang rape that poor one who might actually be Scandinavian because her accent is spot on. So I think she might actually be Scandinavian. But they're morons. How am I supposed? These are supposed to be the people I'm supposed to care about that are going to be up against this horrible mighty bad guy Empire, not the Empire guys. Like, couldn't give a shit about them. They're idiots. They deserve to get killed. Sorry, they do.
So it's slight backstory to the robot who doesn't really feature much, but Jimmy, can't believe that's his fucking name. I was just calling him Anthony Robot on my notes, but he was chatting to a young girl, Sam, and she's the girl you're talking about that almost gets raped by the guys in the following scene. But she's chatting to the robot, and he gives backstory to the world of the non-Empire and the fallen king and queen and their daughter who died, and he was sworn to protect her. And after that happened, the robot was just like, I'm not taking up arms, or the robot is against violence. So that's that kind of backstory to him, which I'm sure plays out a little bit later on in the following scene, but I'm sure that it's going to be something in the second movie. I think it's just this whole movie is just all this set up to I hope it's a fucking good payoff. But yeah,
do you think? Can I ask you on that? Do you think that because we're cutting into now, and we're going to start seeing the action, right?
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned, the thing when they tried to sexually assault that young girl, and that's when our hero, Cora steps in. Straight away, I was like, what this needed? Like R rating. Like she goes in and she's standing in the doorway and she's holding these like an axe kind of thing in her hand, like she looks badass, and she's gonna take all these guys down. Hitting them with fucking axes and using their guns against them. And it's your one is obviously really great with the choreography and stuff. She does a lot of the moves herself, and that's great. But straight away, you're just thinking, God, if this could have an R rating, there'd be so much more oomph to it. There'd be so much more to these fights.
That's the problem with this, because he's like, Zach has obviously shot this like with an R rating in mind, because some of the scenes, like there's a scene in this thing where Cora just takes on all the rapist bad guys, but by the way, like the characters, there's no nuance to characters at all in this. It's just like all the bad guys are all murderers, fucking fiends, bar one guy, just which is fucking ridiculous. But anyway, But there's Cora who weighs about as much as 10 bags of sugar, beats the shit out of these 300-pound fucking guys. Just like, get onto the action and choreography in a while. But there's even a scene in it where she grabs some guy's gun and puts it under his chin. It obviously blows his fucking head off. Pulls the trigger, and then we cut to a shot kind of behind them from someone else's point of view, and the guy just drops, and there's no visible wound at all in his head or whatever, and that's obviously like in the R-rated version, like that's a shot you're specifically shooting it that way to show, in the R-rated version, head splatter or blood splatter from the head or whatever. Otherwise, if it's a PG-13 movie, which this is, you don't shoot it that way. You shoot it where she puts the gun under his chin, and then you cut away or something. You're not gonna. Yeah, it's just it's baffling, and that it's strangely bloodless at times, which doesn't make sense with what's happening on screen.
Are you saying or suggesting that we're going to have to wait for a Snyder cut?
Oh yeah, well he's already said there is one. He said it's going to be released at just around the time of the second movie, and it's like, why is there an extended definitive cut, he said, of the movie that fills in all the gaps, of story and character, and it's like, well, why not just fucking make that movie now? Like, why would I want to watch a longer version of this? Why does Zach think that this movie, which he wrote and directed, is not sufficient enough and needs an extended cut to make sense of everything? That's fucking absurd. Just make the fucking movie now. Like, he's it's baffling. It's baffling. But that fight scene is I thought the action in this movie was pretty fucking poor, to be honest. She's cool. She's doing some cool moves, but even in this fight with these rapist guys, she's beating the shit out of them. But you're looking in the background, there's people, it's like a video game, there's people standing in the background with weapons just looking at her beating up some guy, waiting for their turn to come in. Yeah. And some of the choreography where obviously one of the stunt guys has had to wait until she finishes a move so he kind of stands there and just kind of dances on the spot, and then he has his cue to come in and get hit by her or whatever. But that I didn't enjoy that scene at all. It's just anyway, at the end of the scene, the robot arrives and kills one of the final guys, and then just takes off and disappears from the fucking movie until he comes up later on again with fucking antlers on his head for some fucking reason. But yeah, what did you think of the action? Did you enjoy it?
No, not really. Some of it looked cool. Like there's, because it's undeniably, like, whether you're a Zack Snyder fan or not, he can pull off some incredible action scenes. And yes, some of the slow-mo really plays into that. But like even Sucker Punch we mentioned earlier, not a good movie, but like some of the fights in that where the girls go into their whatever, I don't completely understand that movie, but when Baby Doll is fighting two gigantic Oni or whatever the fuck they are that have big fucking Gatling guns and stuff, and some of that looks amazing. He films that really well. And so shortly after this fight scene, when she says we're going to have to get an army together to fight the bad guys, shortly after that we get a flashback to her whole story. You know what I mean? Right. And you see her going through the army and stuff.
6-minute campfire exposition chat. It's 6 minutes and 3 seconds.
Her and Gunnar, the other have gone off to try and basically get a bunch of people and get an army together. This old general that stood against the Galactic, whatever the fucking empire, not the empire before. And so they're gone off to get an army together to help the morons on the moon. And we get the campfire. He's like, so what's going on? And he's almost like he has to pry it out for a little bit. So I'm not going to tell you. Actually, no, hang on. Here's my entire life story.
Yeah.
So we get this big, as you said, 6-minute thing. But some of the action in that is actually pretty cool. The part leading up to her getting the fucking flag and putting it up, there's some actually pretty cool action.
Some of that imagery is really, really good. But she just tells you everything about her. Like,
she does, and doesn't
he says nothing as well. She just says this whole exposition dump to him about his life, and he just goes, I don't think he even says anything. He just goes,
just hearing go.
She goes,
we should have told this story by the campfire.
Yeah.
But like during that 6 minutes, you get this you talked about it being a rip-off. It's an absolutely a rip-off of the whole Gamora Thanos thing. Like we
Mm,
find that she was taken in as a
yeah.
child on her planet. Your man had gone in, whatever fuck his name is, the lead bad guy, had come to
Mm,
the planet, had wiped loads of people out, but took her then as his protector and as his adopted her as his daughter.
mm,
And it's just so he's carrying her away, and you can see all the fucking people are dying and stuff. Just like, hang on a second, didn't I fucking see this in
yeah.
in Avengers so many few years ago? I just feel like it just got taken straight from that. A lot of the imagery seemed very similar. It just yeah, but like 6 fucking minutes of it, like that's too much.
Yeah, but it's a 6 minute exposition dump is tough enough to sit through, but again, it's just her delivery. But look, she's not working with the best script. It's a piss poor script, but the dialogue is appalling. But she just doesn't have the acting chops to give it anything more. She just delivers a kind of everyone has the same face here. They're either really sad or just stoic and fucking bland, and she just delivers this dialogue. It's kind of like dialogue that would be perfectly serviceable if you were reading it as a synopsis for her character. Yet she's saying it aloud to somebody, and it's just that's not how conversations work. That's not how you talk.
Yeah,
And that's and it's even worse where he's just sitting there looking at her, and then she finishes, and nothing happens. It's just like, okay, next scene. It's just like, did that just happen? Like, surely if someone sat down at a campfire and said that to you, at the end of it, you'd be like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
yeah.
Or yeah, bit fucking a bit mad, but I can't remember what happens after that. Like, I think that exposition dump is where I finished the first watching or first or second attempt at watching, where I was like, oh fuck this, I can't I can't have this be the last thing I watch before bed. So I went straight back to RoboCop for a bit. But is this where Charlie Hunnam comes in?
No,
The
I
next
think
scene?
yeah, Charlie Hunnam's the first. He's the first misfit I think that they come across, because basically
Yeah,
they kind of go from place to place picking up these misfits, and
yeah,
it's so lazy. Like I said, the first place was like space Scandinavia. There's like a space Asia part as well, and a
yeah.
space like Western part as well. It's like,
Hmm,
you lazy fucker, just come up with something out there, something mental when they go to a new planet. It
hmm,
doesn't have to represent something exactly like a time period and place on Earth. Just come up with something fucking mental and random and strange. It just that just seems
yeah.
really lazy. But yeah, they meet Charlie Hunnam, and every time you see Charlie Hunnam, I'm like, what is going to come out of his mouth? What
Yeah,
accent
his
is going to
accent
come out of this?
is astonishing.
Like
That
it's
someone
I feel
actually
like
allowed him
yeah,
to speak like that.
yeah, at some point in time, I'm convinced, right, that him and Liam Neeson were in a bar and they said, right, let's have a bet and see how long each one of us can get away with doing an absolutely bizarrely ridiculous accent, and see if nobody calls us on it. Because every time I see him in something, like I quite like him. I loved him in Sons of Anarchy. I think in The Gentleman he's
He's a
great. Bar
decent
the
actor, like.
accent, he's a really good actor, but it just keeps swinging with these fucking. And this is no different. It's in Northern Ireland. I think he's going for. Is it? Is it Northern Ireland
Yeah,
accent he's going
yeah. I
for?
think Northern Ireland, Scottish, fucking fairy tale far and away. Tom Cruise creeps in a few times. It's pretty shocking. Like, it's pretty shocking because I know he's trying to be. I'm even thinking of his accent now. I couldn't take him seriously for one fucking moment, and if he hadn't done that accent, I'm pretty sure I would have enjoyed his scenes a bit more, because he's a budget Channing Tatum in my book, but he's as you're saying, from especially Sons of Anarchy, like, he's a pretty charismatic dude, and
Yeah,
he pulls off. He's got acting or acting chops. He's got action chops where he can really. He's got some good physicality and stuff, but it's just that fucking accent. I just kept laughing like every time. I just couldn't hear what he was saying because I just kept giggling through every scene he was in. Like, and most of the scenes he's in, you will have to tell me what
Are
happened,
you
because I just
Are you chewing something? That's like, are you chewing something, Charlie? Is that what's happening here?
what's
What have you got in
happening,
your
mate?
mouth? Spit it out.
what are you doing? It's like, what the fuck are you on about? So yeah, I just
And this
completely,
is one of his better ones. That's the sad thing.
yeah.
This is probably one of his better ones.
Yeah,
uh,
it's like, yeah. But yeah, when he's in it and he becomes, he's like the guy, right? That she tells him their plan. They need to round up some people, and he's like, "Oh, I might know a few. Sorry, I might know a few fucking people." And it's just like, isn't that very it's such a coincidence. So, and he just takes them off then to find the rest of their magnificent fucking seven. Um and the first place to go,
oh,
is this the bird dude? Is that the first guy?
yeah. Like this was
Oh,
painful. This was absolutely painful to watch. Like, and it was so pointless. It was absolutely pointless. Like, wait, is that fucking weird bird griffin fucking thing ever going to show up again? What was the fucking point in that
no.
whole scene? How much did it
So
cost to animate that
it's
fucking gigantic weird creature? It's
it's astonishing.
fucking pointless. And you're supposed
It's
to
the most
care about
pointless
this
scene
guy who they
I've
meet.
ever fucking seen. Like,
Yeah, and just what are you supposed to? This guy who gets up and he tames this fucking thing to get his freedom or whatever the fuck he does, and he's flying around through the sky in this thing. We've only just met this character, so we're not supposed to. If you want to do this, you have someone where we're supposed to care about them, like fucking
mm,
Aladdin on his magic carpet or whatever. We're supposed to care about these characters, and
yeah,
now they're getting to fly. I don't know this fella. I don't care about him.
mm,
Why would I care that he gets to fly? It's not like I'm getting to see a character we've started to grow and enjoy and get
mm,
to know and go, oh wow, this is the thing. Harry Potter getting to fly on the fucking thing. Whatever you're going, oh, that's pretty cool. This is I already don't know this guy at all. We've only met him for 30 seconds, and already they're giving him this amazing flying through the clouds and doing all this stuff. Like, no one gives a shit. Who is this bloke? Like,
yeah.
it's.
But
I think
it's the
it was an excuse to show some giant dude with his shirt off. To be honest, like,
absolutely, absolutely. But it's because they go to when they go to try and recruit him, and he's a prisoner or a slave, or he's saying he owes a debt to this guy or whatever, so he's staying there. And then they say to his owner, slash fucking whatever, um, we we want him for a fucking mission. He's just like, well, have you got money? And they're like, well, we've no money. And the guy says, well, I do like gambling. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, they're gonna play a game of poker or something? What's happening?
they just
And he
told you
just
they had no
gamble.
money. Like,
But exactly, so he gambles that this guy can't ride the bird, and they gamble that he can, but they've no money, and it's like,
what? Well, yeah,
what's
that's
the
it. What
point
was
of
the
this?
thing? Like, if he couldn't do
And how
it,
does he
what
not
was?
know that
What,
this guy can talk to
I must
birds?
have missed
Like,
that. Yeah, I must have missed that part where we found out what exactly would happen if he couldn't do
no,
it. I must. I
no, because
maybe
I
I wasn't
rewound this
listening.
bit, and it's just that's just the throwaway line. Like, I like gambling, so this guy goes off and whispers and talks to the bird, and goes and flies, and absolutely pointless action scene. But like, and the CGI here, talking about the visual effects for a little bit. I've read a lot of stuff online where people say like, "Oh, this is a pretty poor movie," blah blah blah, but it looks spectacular, and I fucking don't think that at all. Some of the CGI I thought was god awful. Some of it is nice, like you're saying about the flashback scenes with her and the flag, and some of those war scenes because they're hyper stylized because they work. Like they work in 300 where you get away with this kind of high contrast image, and this is where like I was checking up on IMDb when I was watching, and Zack Snyder is cinematographer on this as well. And I was like,
Right.
that just made total sense because the cinematography, like everything Zack Snyder wise, is turned up to 11. Normally on his movies, it's hyper stylized and it's slow mo and all this stuff, but it's there's a cinematographer at work, a proper fucking cinematographer, knowing when to dial it back a little bit. 8 out of 10 is good enough. Was Zach's like on this? No, everything turn it up to 11. It's like the contrast. It's super high contrast, like they crush in the blacks in every scene, and that just doesn't work with certain visual effects. It just they don't blend into the scene well, or it's too contrasty, and it just took me out of it. And this bird scene, like one shot will be like, oh, that's quite pretty, and the next shot is a POV, or like, yeah, looking at him flying the bird really close, and it's just looks like something from the fucking 50s driving a car with a projection screen in the background. It's just, I thought it looked fucking awful. But yeah, but like you're saying, during that scene, you're kind of going, okay, why is who is this guy? Why is he flying a bird? Surely this is going to be like a Chekhov's gun moment where this is going to be prevalent later on in the movie. This, obviously is setting up something, and no, he's not. We never see the bird again. No one flies a bird again for the rest of the movie. So yeah, absolute fucking nonsense. And yeah, we found out more about all these characters in 2 minutes at the end of the movie than we do in all these scenes. Then they're just not giving you anything. They're just like Zack Snyder going, "Oh, here's a cool thing. Let's go to a fucking some guy flying a fucking bird or whatever," and here we go again, and then we move on to the next scene, which is a mining scene or mining city. More awful visual effects, muddy. The amount of fucking light flares in this movie. Oh fucking hell! Put J.J. Abrams to shame. Like
I was thinking the same. Yeah,
it's astonishing, but more so like with J.J. Abrams on light flares, because he like shoots with anamorphic lenses which naturally give you a light flare. So he's building a set, and then the light flares are a part of his shooting prep. But with Zack Snyder, all the backgrounds are digital, so he's putting in the light flares digitally. So like there's one or two scenes in this movie where there's about 12 light flares, but they just look like copy and paste. They're all the exact fucking same. And it's just an overload of just visual effects in this movie. Fucking did my nut in. But yes, back to Mining City and Asian Sword Lady.
Space
this
agent.
is another
space agent. They just made you lazy fucking prick, like space agent. And that was Jenna Malone, the giant spider.
Oh, what's it?
Yeah, Jenna Malone from Donnie Darko and
Deadly.
Actually Sucker Punch. Yeah, she plays that weird spider creature woman thing that our
Asian
next
Sword Lady
picking up is fighting.
Yeah, we're introduced to Asian Sword Lady. I say introduced. The scene cuts in where they're following her and just like, oh, do you want to come in this mission? She says nothing, and then just goes into a room and fights a big crazy woman spider, and pretty cool fight. And we're introduced to some laser swords. This was a fucking cool scene because it was just dialed back. There wasn't anything distracting visually apart from the crazy giant fucking woman spider, which you're kind of like, where the fuck is this going? But yeah, that was a cool fight, and the space Asian lady has obviously two swords, and then she does a little trick and turns them into fucking crazy red laser swords, or as we like to call them, not lightsabers. Yeah, and then from there, she's just part of the team. Then it's like the next scene, she's just there. She's with them. There's no interactions with these people. There's no, what's her backstory? What the fuck is going on? The crazy Spider Woman she's fighting is more backstory, and you care more about her than you do Space Asian Lady, which that was bizarre. But that was probably one of my favorite scenes, even though nothing really fucking happens in it, just like every fucking scene in this movie. Who's next? Is this next? We're getting General Titus. Is that next?
Was that actually? Do you know the General Titus? Which one is that now? Is he the
Jimon Hansu?
Yeah, I think the planet. Yeah, I think is it the planet before they get him or after they get him, where there's the CG character, and they go and kill everybody on the planet. Bad guys kill everybody on the planet. There was something straight away. That's Tony Amendola is playing that CG character, and it was so amazing. The special effects, I agree, are not great in this movie for the most part, but they just did his features. Like before I heard knew it was him, straight away I just saw this little way his face moved. It was like this creature, and this creature, is humanoid, but his fucking face is all over the place, like a weird squid-looking slug face thing. But there was something straight away. I went, Jesus, that looks a bit like Tony Amendola. And then he starts
And
fucking
it's him.
talking. It's like, holy fucking shit, that is him.
It
So
is.
there was some props to the special effects team for that. Whatever way they captured him, he must have done the
Mm.
motion capture for it. But yeah, props to the special effects team for that, because I thought that, I picked up on that straight away. That was pretty cool. But I think, this is when they go to get, the general that they've been off
General
to.
Titus, which is Jimon
Yeah,
Hansu, who, Jesus Christ, this guy is
you know
wasted in
him
this
from
movie. Like
everything.
he
He's in everything,
from
and he's
everything.
awesome.
So he, like, his whole, we get a little bit of his backstory through some more exposition again, where basically he tells us, um, uh, yeah, people don't really show anything in this movie. You're not showing anything. People just tell you everything about themselves. So General Titus, his whole platoon were killed under his command by not the Not Empire, and he's disgraced and is wants to die in peace. And they find him and like living on the side of the fucking street or something. So yeah, he tells him to get lost. He doesn't want to be part of anything, and and then Cora just uses this zinger of a line and just says like, she's like, "Don't you want redemption?" He's like, "I don't care about redemption." It's just like, well, if you don't, if you don't want to do it for redemption, maybe do it for revenge. And General Titus then has a character arc, a full character arc in the space of about 7 seconds, and just looks at her with like, "Oh my god, I've been sitting here for fucking months. I've never thought. Hold on, what if I try get revenge?" And it's
Yeah,
like,
and to
oh,
be
for the
clear,
love of fucking
yeah,
Christ.
to be clear, like for anybody, like we did warn everybody to watch this before, but for anybody who's listening to this who hasn't watched it, they find him like on the streets. Like they find him,
Mm,
he's covered in crap. He's like he looks like he's possible. I don't know, was he supposed to be homeless or something? I'm not sure what the
yeah,
crack was with him. So like this isn't just him being plodding around and has been busy doing other shit, and that's why it didn't occur to him he
been
should
doing
go and get
nothing,
revenge.
living on the
This
side
is
of the
just he's
street.
just been sitting around living on the side of the street doing nothing. They have to get him like bathed by this chick. And like you said, straight away he's like, "Fucking hell, revenge! That's a bleeding great idea!
Yeah,
Fuck's sake!" It was memorable, absolutely memorable.
it's just so poor. Like it just, yeah. This is another one of those laughably bad things. Just like, oh, here another, and then we get this guy, and then we get this guy, and they get this guy, and then what's the fucking what's the next? They go and they finally join up with some resistance fighters that were apparently living out on the perimeter of space, who the Not Empire want to eradicate. So finally, we come across them. That you would think that that would be the first port of call, right? To try and join up with the resistance and get some fucking ships and weapons. I still don't
Yeah,
know what the point of this story is. That like they're just going to try and fight the Not Empire and just get like 7 or 8 dudes, like that's going to do it. Like, yeah, all right, we got some lady with some swords and a general who's apparently a master tactician, which we never see him do any of that at all ever in this movie. But like, I don't understand what's the point? How are they going to win if they get these guys? The general's a master strategic fucking commander, and just like, yeah, but there's like 10 of you. You know?
yeah.
What are you going to
He can't be
do?
that much of a genius. He's been sleeping on the street, like you
Yeah.
know.
So yes, exactly. Very well said. But yeah, when they go and meet the resistance, and they come across a brother and sister. I think they're brother and sister anyway, and just the brother and a handful of guys decide to join their cause, and the others don't. I don't know the reason for that. Like fucking 10 of them join, and that's. I don't know if what was the reason why the sister didn't join. I didn't pick
I
that
don't
up,
know. Yeah, I say
and
like
why they
towards
all
the
just
end of
didn't
this
join
movie,
together for it.
you could see my notes in this one just started to get less and less as the movie went on. Like my brain was just like, you have to go, you have to walk away from this movie. And
Yeah,
like, no,
yeah, yeah.
no, I have to watch this for the podcast. And my notes just started fizzling out. So I'm not
Yeah,
sure exactly why. Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest about it. Like I'm not sure why some of them did, why some of them didn't. I mean, these
yeah.
are I
Because
assume these guys are the guys that the Empire are hunting for at the start. That's why they want the grain, isn't it?
Yeah,
So they can
that's
go
they
and
want to
continue their
get
hunt
rid
and
of
wipe them
these
out.
guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
these are the resistance fighters. The biggest threat to the not Empire, I'm guessing. But even at the end of this scene, when brother resistance man joins them, the animal whisperer guy just stands there and just like they're all kind of standing together, standing together. Like I can see you rolling your eyes. He's like he says to him. He looks around. He goes, "Where's the quote here?" He says, "Maybe this isn't suicide after all." And just like because you got fucking 20 dudes like against it.
They shoot one cannon from that spaceship and we are all
Yeah,
dead in one shot.
it's like against what they've called like the impossible and indestructible ship and all this stuff. So maybe it's not suicide after all. It's like what the fuck are you talking about, like mate? Jesus. Um, it's just absolute nonsense again in this scene. Then some shit happens. Charlie Hunnam talks to Cora about honor or some shit like that. But it's a fucking honor. I just couldn't understand what he was saying.
Speak up there, Jerry.
Yeah. What are you talking about? A fucking bit of honor. And then Charlie Hunnam, shocker, he betrays the gang and captures them and delivers them to our big bad, and captures them in these kind of spider robot things that capture them for some reason.
Yeah, it reminded me a little bit of that thing in Doctor Strange. When he throws that contraption at your man and it fucking locks him up into the oak so he can't move. Because these robots just jump in and strap you down like a real spider thing that grabs you and pulls you back into place and holds you there. Kind of reminded me a little bit of that. But yeah, because we see one kind of near when they first go off looking for their misfits. And we see some guy getting captured. There's a guy that they were going to meet, I think. We see a dude getting caught one of these, so they're probably just setting it up. Like we have these fucking weird spider chair things. He double crosses them and they all get thrown into these fucking chairs.
When there's an absolute zinger, Oscar-worthy back and forth between Charlie and Cora. After she's captured, she looks at him and I had to write this down, and it took about 4 attempts to write this. I kept pissing myself just typing it out. He says, "Mother world, torch my world. What did that teach me? To never set foot on the wrong side of history." To which Cora retorts, "Is that what you think we're doing?" And he goes, "No, you chose a side that doesn't even make it to the history books." It's just like, this is what we're dealing with. Right. It's just like it's just torturous. Like it's and it's played so seriously. It's just played so fucking serious. The big bad arrives then, and they're like, all these guys have been captured, and he arrives, and one of his ships that is kind of hovering overhead, big badass fucking ship with giant fucking cannons. We'll come to that and what the pilots are doing and that fucking later on. But he gives, the big bad arrives then, Ed Skrein, and gives kind of a shitty monologue or whatever, but he goes through each of the characters after they've been caught, and he delivers in like 2 lines to each person. He gives more backstory and tells us more about them in 10 seconds to each person than we've had in the whole fucking movie. And this is what you think is like, oh, is this the setup for Act 3 and something like, is this going to propel the movie to, a 3-star movie instead of a fucking 1.5? But no, because the movie's fucking over by 10 minutes later. But like he goes over to the animal whisperer guy, just like, Prince fucking whatever. Just like, Prince, what? Where the fuck did that come from? Like, okay, what? Yeah. And just talks about, goes over to Space Asian Lady and delivers her exposition where, she's killed fucking 16 generals or something, blah, blah, blah. And just a shit would be really good to know, maybe as they were recruiting them, so maybe we'd give a shit about these people if we knew anything about them. Anything apart from like, oh, does it look cool, give her red swords. Yeah, Zach, brilliant. Fuck's sake. But yeah, the thoughts on that scene.
Yeah, like
It's
as I said, I think we've gone into way more detail than I ever thought we were going to go into about this fucking movie. Um, that whole ending scene was fucking painful. The whole thing where they set it
it's
up
so
to
bad.
they're trying to get your man Gunner basically to kill the killing blow. Like, so Gunner is basically has been a farmer. There's been no mention of him being
Oh
some
yeah,
sort of secret badass. They set up to get him to put this gun thing in the back of the chair to
to
shoot
kill
fucking
Cora.
your
Yeah,
one through the brain and kill her. And then he so fucking deftly manages to not kill her, but get the gun out of the locking mechanism, stun around, hit the fucking dude. Like, so it's like, how did you do that in one
and
fell swoop? Like,
unlock the
this is like
machine at the
yeah, like
same
it's
time.
a like yeah, it was super like super like a choreographed kind of fucking move that he does. Like, how did you learn
Mm.
to be this expert in fucking hand to hand combat that you're able to get this gun that had just been locked into that machine out, knock around, disarm the guy behind you, unlock it so she can get out, and then
Mm.
manage to take cover without getting hit when you're surrounded like by like 50 army guys from the Empire, not Empire. It's just it was it was
That's my main takeaway
bollocks.
from this was like everything I thought Zack Snyder was good at. He must have just had like second unit action directors, like given or taken over some scenes in some of his movies or something, which is kind of normally done. But he obviously has overseen everything in this because good action scenes will always present like a clear idea of the geography of a fucking scene, like Michael Mann, John McTiernan, all these guys. Like Heat, they don't have to show you that much in that Heat shootout. You just know where everyone fucking is. You know what's happening in the
Yeah,
street.
yeah,
In this, she gets like they're surrounded. She gets released by Gunner in that mad, deft fucking um, magic trick, and then she gets free. But they're surrounded by everyone by goons. They're surrounded by gunships ahead or up above, and somehow then she like steps like 5 feet to her left, and then she's in cover killing everyone, and then everyone else is being released. And now there's a firefight, an evenly matched firefight, and just like how did that just happen? How like why why are they not all
yeah.
dead? Like obviously they're not going to be all fucking dead, but it's just it's astonishing. And it like then there's a scene where and even, this is the point of the movie where you're kind of going right, okay, give us something fucking pivotal action, even not a scene, give us a shot, give us something fucking cool. And Cora starts to run left to right in a nice kind of dolly tracking shot, throwbacks to kind of that iconic shot in 300 where it's Leonidas and it's the tracking shot left to right and there's kind of crash zooms into him in slow mo and it's fucking amazing. And I was like, all right, here we go. And she just runs and the camera just follows her in slow motion for about 6 seconds and that's it. And like just nothing happens. I think she
Nothing comes of it.
jumps
Yeah,
jumps over a little brick in the fucking road or something. And it's just it's painful. And yeah, long story short, she then has a fight with Ed Screen on a floating platform. Another lackluster, yeah, just improbable physics and choreography, and it's just fucking nonsense. She knocks him off the platform. I think he dies, doesn't die, and General Titus gives this kind of rousing speech after it. They're like, "This will not. This is not. Pebble in a pond. This will strike fear to the Empire, or Empire not Empire." And it's like, but I don't think it will, man. You beat about 30 people. That gunship that was up ahead. Oh, we must talk about the rebel resistance man who sacrifices himself, goes up and
yeah.
kills someone in a
Kill the
gunship,
gunner.
which is like would be a really interesting and poignant moment if we knew anything about this guy. And it's just okay, great.
You get
That's
a
brilliant.
scream. You get a scream from the other people who scream,
Yeah,
"No, he's got to
no, it's
get
just like,
killed!"
oh
Like,
my
I don't know who
god.
you are either. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
Like, it just did. Yeah,
But he kills the
yeah,
gunship that was just hovering above as they were all getting free and killing people, and they didn't fire. Yeah. Anyway, nonsense. But they all return back to the village planet. We get a glimpse of the robot now with wooden antler crowns on, and he turns to the camera and another giant lens flare, and then we kind of cut to black. But then we get a kind of post credit scene, or maybe it's just the next scene where the big bad
yeah.
is put back into a machine and he chats to some fucking dude via an uplink. And I have no fucking clue what was going on there. And he's
Yeah,
He's back
that
now,
was
so the
the
big
dude
bad is
who.
back again.
Yeah, that was Ed Screen. But then the other big bad is obviously the general guy who had taken Corey in as his daughter. That was
Taking
him, and
her,
then at the
yeah,
end that he's going in.
that's the big reveal, and
Um,
it's
yeah,
end of
and you're
part
like, well,
one.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, like I thought I didn't think we were going to go into as much detail as that. The movie didn't deserve that at all, to be honest.
And we
But
have
no, it
probably
was
cut lots of this out.
yeah. But like it was hard work to get through. As you said, you had to watch in multiple sittings. Like I'm
Mm.
only going to recommend that people watch this purely because we're going to be covering the second movie. We're definitely going to have to do
Oh,
Film
yeah,
Room
yeah.
Part 2 in a few months' time. So you might as well watch this just so you can listen along, or you can just not bother. But like it's if you watch Zack Snyder's other stuff, you might be interested in it for the visuals, but as storytelling goes, it's terrible. It's stolen so much from
Mm.
every other sci-fi and even non-sci-fi thing you can think of.
Mm.
Um, Tropes
Yeah.
up the arse and
Oh, it's so
like
derivative. Like
put
it's
ev-
just
to put yeah
he's just
and
taken
to
from
put
everything.
so much and to put so much exposition, but put it in all the most random and wrong places. Like not
Mm.
putting exposition where we fucking need it and giving too much where we don't need it. It's just
Mm.
it was bizarre choices. And for the amount of money that you've spent, 166 million, you're saying
Mm.
you could like
Thereabouts,
as
yeah.
much as you could have got a better cast. Like I mean,
100%. A better leading lady,
the
like for the love of God.
but not just the guy. Your man Gunner is kind of the guy who's with her for so much of it as well. Like
Mm.
I know him from Game of Thrones. Don't really know him from anything else, and
Just
didn't think
throw
he was
away.
great in this. So I would rather see more of Corey Stoll, to be honest, rather than killing him
Yeah.
off. At least he's fun to watch. But no, it's not a good movie. It's a letdown. And it's a shame because, like we said when we watched The Creator, just to go back to that,
Mm.
we're always excited about new IPs, new sci-fi. Something who
Mm.
comes up with something new that isn't just another thing. But they can't even say that about this because it takes so much from elsewhere, other movies, that it doesn't feel
Mm.
like it's a new IP. It doesn't feel like it's a new
No, not at
series
all.
or anything because you're like, no, because you're just like, no, okay, this should be that, but because you're written directly yourself, it should be a whole new thing. But it doesn't
Mm.
feel like that because you've stolen so much from elsewhere.
Absolutely, and you can see
Yeah,
what he's trying to do. He's trying to do. He obviously loves Star Wars, and he's trying to make a kind of a mix between Star Wars and the Magnificent Seven, and he kind of does that, but without all the joy, wonder, humor, characters. Like there's no interplay between any of these characters or this gang of misfits. That there's no camaraderie. There's nothing. It's clunky scripts, appalling dialogue. Visually, I just think it's muddy and depressing looking most of the time. I just don't like the visual side. I just don't think it works for this movie. It's just dialed up a bit too much for me. Derivative, bloated nonsense, uneven visual effects, too many fucking lens flares, and the worst thing, like poor script, but just boring characters.
yeah,
Just as flat as you can, and just as disappointing. Like you expect, going into like Knights of the Zodiac and stuff like this, where
yeah.
it's kind of it's a fun shit movie or a good shit movie. This is just a shit movie because it's played so straight, and it's it's the
I
worst
can
of Zack
safely say,
Snyder.
like I would never watch this again. Like I know,
Never.
like Knights of the Zodiac, if someone else had never heard of it, I'd be like, hang on a second till I show you this. We'll have a bit of crack. Like
Yeah,
you'd sit
it's
down and watch
fun.
it
Like,
together and say have a bit of fun. I know that I will never see this movie again because
mm,
there's nothing in it that would draw me back to it. If I'm looking for a bit of action, I'll just
mm,
throw on a Marvel movie if that's what I want. But it's
yeah.
just I have no interest in going back to this again. It was very disappointing. I think what did you say the IMDb or the Rotten Tomatoes score was?
Rotten Tomatoes 24%. It's kind of like I'd give it. Yeah, I wouldn't even give. I'd give it 1.5 out of fucking 5.
Yeah, I was thinking that if I had to give it out of
Just
5 stars, I was kind of thinking, what would I give it? Maybe one's a bit low. That's kind of reserved for the absolute
two
sci-fi
probably as
channel
well.
stuff.
Just yeah.
Oh yeah, I'd say 1.5 is probably fair enough. It's a bad movie.
2 hours 15
But look,
minutes. We will not get back.
no. Now look, that was okay. That was an extra long review, but luckily my retro corner is actually going to be quite short because I only wanted to set up this retro corner, um, because we've done so many of these kind of video game retro corners where we've done them as we've
Mm.
talked about our blast from the past, and we've talked about huge games. You've done
Mm.
Zelda and games that take a bit of skill and stuff. I thought like when I thinking about this game recently, it it's very accessible for people who say don't play video games, because there's people who listen to
Yeah.
this podcast who listen to the movie stuff, don't really give a shit about the video game side of it.
Mm.
Um, but this game is so accessible because it's not really about timing or skill level or anything like that. It's about the story. It's about using your brain. It's about thinking outside the box.
Mm.
The So basically, it's real. It's what we would call a point and click adventure game. You kind of have to pay attention to what's going on in the scene. You pick up items and collectibles, and then you kind of have to wonder what would work with this. And it could be, as I said, think outside the box. What random thing in my collectible what I use to interact with this thing in the environment that'll allow me to progress to the next scene. You have to really think outside. It's like Monkey Island, like the Monkey Island games,
Yeah.
So like, I have to. There's one part. I'd say near the very start is this machine that you clog up, and you have to try and you're trying to get it to slow down. And you see when this guy's fixing repair guy, he's taking out this slip. You're like, okay. So you try to go in and get it, and you can't get access to it. You're like, okay, well maybe I could put something. I saw that guy taking something out.
Mm.
They purposely gave me a cutscene of him taking this slip out. If I put something else in, and so you go through your items and you find, oh, hang on a second, I have a playing cards, and it fits in, but it keeps getting sucked out of the way. You're like, fuck's sake, okay, they keep getting sucked out of the machine. And you're like, how will I get? What could I do? What would stop this thing from getting sucked? Then you remember, actually, earlier on, I was able to interact with this girl while I was talking to her. She has a hole punch on her desk. And when I was talking to her, I asked could her use her hole punch. And you get an action scene and use it. But if you don't try to interact and use your card while you're doing it, all he does is hit it and say, oh, that's fun. And off he goes. So you bring your cards back up, you stamp them. Now they have holes, and now the air will pass through, and you can use it to stick. It's really like that. It's real figuring out, okay, what have I got in my items? What have I interacted with so far in the world? What can I use to try and get me onto the next part?
Mm.
And it's really paying attention. You watch where your character goes, watch where his head looks. If he looks towards something, you can go, okay, that's obviously important.
Mm.
So the game is these adventure games that LucasArts put out. So this is going back to
What year
98,
was this
99. This came out. It was 98, 99, around that time. But the games were all pre-rendered background, and then you've got your character. So in this one, Manny Cavalier is your character. He's a 3D character, and so it's set in the land of the dead. And so the style is like a real noir, like detective noir kind of style, but with a futuristic element to it as well. So it's got that real cool music and cars of the time and all that kind of stuff. But you're basically a Manny. You're playing as him. He's a travel agent for the dead. So basically, new souls that come in, he basically has, based on the kind of stuff they came into the afterlife with and the life that they led, he sells them a package that will get them on to the final resting place, the ninth circle, land of dead, or whatever it's called. And so he works, and he has to work up a certain commission by selling these packages. And once he's built up his commission, he can do it. So he works basically for this kind of travel company. And so the idea is you're going around and you have to unravel the mystery as you go through it. But the voice acting is amazing. It's so charming, so clever, so funny. It makes you have to use your brain to do it. And the reason I wanted to pitch this as our retro game is that it'll run on anything. Like at one stage, this was released on Android, because it's so old.
Oh, wow.
So you can get it on Switch, you can get it on your PlayStation or whatever. But I would say people who work from home, do a bit on the company time, because you can get this on Steam. I think last time I checked, it was on Steam for, I think, €3.70. So
wow,
you can download this game, play it on the company time. It'll only take up a few megabytes of fucking space on your hard drive, but it's so enjoyable. You'll have great fun playing it. It's money well spent. It's time well spent. Okay, some of the controls can be a little bit awkward because everything is pre-rendered. The idea is you walk it to the end of a corridor, and then it cuts to the next scene, and it's another pre-rendered static thing. And so sometimes depending on which way you move the stick, you end up going back into the old section.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
camera
yeah.
has to move back. So there's a little bit of that that kind of
But
can
that's
be a
old
bit
school
janky.
clunky stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
you
I'm sure they've
just
ironed.
work with it.
I'm sure they've ironed a lot of that out now. If you were to
Mm.
play it again now, but I think they did a remaster of this only about 10 years ago. You know, better visuals and stuff like that. But it's always on sale. It's always on special.
Mm.
I'd recommend this to anybody
I want
just
to
to
pick that up.
because it's not even one that you have to play multiplayer, but two, you could be on the couch watching the story unfold, and your person beside you goes, "Oh, try your other thing with that," or ask that guy if you can do this, or see if that'll
Yeah.
work with that thing. You know, and you're going through and you have your this little small inventory and go, "Oh, hang on a second, we got a cutscene. That must mean something, and that'll get us on to the next part." And it's so charming, so wonderfully done. A lot of love went into this game, and the remake as well. So I 100% recommend
Was there
picking this
sequels
up.
to
It's
it?
not a very long
So I
game.
don't know anything about this game.
It didn't do well, despite reviewing incredibly well. I would put this
Cult
up
classic.
with one of I put this up with one like it's got to be like if we were doing like top 50s of all time. This is definitely got to be in there.
It's there, yeah.
It's a cracking game, but it just didn't do well commercially. And it ended up being the end of this.
That's a shame, actually.
LucasArts.
Do you think it was before its time?
I think people just moved on from this type of game, because you had this, and then you had Monkey Island and stuff like that, and the technology was moving on and had moved on. Like this came out like 4 or 5 years after the PlayStation came out. We're starting to get into more and more. We
want 3D models,
yeah. So going back to something like this now is fun and it's quirky and enjoyable. But technology and games are moving so fast. I think time moved away from the adventure, click and point kind of style adventure game. But they're fun to go back to. We got the Return to Monkey Island game that came out a couple of years ago. Or was it last year or the year before? So they're fun to go back to and stuff like that. But they were never. They couldn't put the money and stuff into it that they could. I don't think LucasArts made another game after this. After this came out, it's a pity. But I 100% I recommend it. As I said, as even I know your wife isn't mad at the video games, but if yourself and Ali would sit down and just to enjoy the story together. I mean, she loves all things Spanish. I'm sure she probably enjoy. It's just the language, the names, the flavor, the music to it. Is very much. A very much Latino kind of vibe to it,
Yeah. That sounds cool, actually.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
I just know the name. I remember just the cover from back in the day when we were working in a electronic boutique. It's one of those things you just remember the box art, and I never knew anything about it. Didn't know it was point and click, didn't know anything. So yeah, that does sound pretty. How long is it to beat? That's my.
Oh, that's because so that's I played. I don't really remember. It's not incredibly long. I don't think. I think it's got to be only maybe 15 or 16 hours, or probably something along those lines. I don't remember. It's a good while since I played it. I know it wasn't incredibly long.
Cool,
but an enjoyable play, and it's
give it a try before next week's episode.
Yeah, see what you think. Like I said, the only thing about it, as I said, it is very accessible to new people because it's not a massive skill level to it. It's using your brain. Problem is,
me right down to the ground. Is there an easy mode?
The problem is for people who there's no modes. The problem is for people who are going into it is that there was any modes as far as I know, but there's no HUD and there's no tips. There's no go
like
here,
that. You just
press
get stuck
A for action, but press A. You just have to go and figure it out. Now, you probably only need, if you're using a controller, you probably only need to use 2 or 3 buttons on it, in total. 1 for action, 1 for your menu, 1 to run or something like that. And that's it. So, but you have to figure that out yourself. It doesn't give you any of that stuff yourself. So you kind of have to just figure that out
kind of cool.
yourself. But the gameplay is simple. Yeah. Check it out. See what you think.
Absolutely.
But that's Retro Corner for this week.
Happy days. Thank you for that, Phil. That's great. I'll stick that on the list. I'll try get a playthrough of that. I'll play about 10 minutes in between RoboCop and Star Wars. So thanks for that. That is a wrap then on this week's episode. So just to thank everyone again for all the support, for for last year for the first for season 1. Is we like to call this like season 2, but it's not. But it just sounds cool. So yeah,
Yeah,
if you've any
definitely sounds cool.
feedback, yeah, it does sound cool. If you've any feedback or want to get in touch or chat about anything we've talked about or shit we haven't talked about, do send us a mail on middleagedgeeks@yahoo.com. And any other thoughts there, Phil?
No, that's it. Just echo that. Yeah. Well, welcome to season 2. We're looking forward to sharing all this great stuff with you in 2024. All the new stuff that's coming out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and we will definitely review a really good film soon. Absolutely. We
Yeah,
promise.
definitely.
Yeah, probably by March. But yeah, we'll do it. So yeah, so from me, Daz, and from Phil, that's a wrap. Chat to you next week.